Good evening. This is the Village of Oak Lawn Board of Trustees regular meeting. We are meeting today in the Village Hall Auditorium, 9446 South Raymond Avenue. This is meeting number 2026-10, Tuesday, May 12th, 2026. It is 7:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Trustee Mallow.
Here.
Trustee Stalker.
Here.
Trustee Sock.
Here.
Trustee Pembroke.
Here.
Trustee Olenichek. And Mayor Vorderer.
Here, we have a quorum. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comments. Any public comments, Madam Clerk?
There are none.
Okay, conflict of interest. Trustee, have any issue with anything on the agenda tonight? Hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of the regular meeting minutes of 2026-09, dated April 28th, 2026. Motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Any comments? Roll call, please.
Trustee Mallow.
Yes.
Trustee Stalker.
Yes.
Trustee Sock.
Yes.
Trustee Pembroke.
Yes.
Motion passes. New Village by Business Trustees. Paul?
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jamie?
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Bud?
Nothing this evening.
And Ralph?
I'm just I need to compliment our Oakland Police Department. The mayor and I attended Edge graduation at St. Catherine's today. Officer Marco Dominguez and Officer Tom McMahon run that program over there. And the mayor and myself and Chief Vittorio, we all got up and spoke. And it's such a well-run program. These kids, the officer was up there asking questions. Every one of these kids had their hand in the air. They were answering questions. You know, usually, I remember back in my day, nobody wanted to put their hands up and answer questions. And every one of these kids was engaged. They gave the right answers because EDGE is about learning about gangs in your neighborhood and what to do, how to avoid it. And these kids were really impressive, and they're all sixth graders. Their parents were there. Some grandparents were there. So that went great. And then I have to compliment Chief Vittorio at the end when he got up to speak. Not only did he, compliment the kids, the program, but he also reminded everybody in that church today that scooters in Oak Lawn are illegal, e-bikes are illegal, and, he addressed the parents, the teachers, and the students and said, if you have them, don't ride them. Parents, I apologize. We know you bought these as gifts for these kids, but they're extremely dangerous. And we found out, Chief said this weekend they wrote up 18 citations for people, students, kids riding scooters around the neighborhood. So he did tell them, and this happened, I don't know the details, but there were two girls that got hit on a scooter. I think they were riding together. They got hit by a car. Luckily they weren't injured severely, but that did happen, and thankfully they weren't injured, but it's going to happen eventually, and it's something that we have to watch out for. The police have also issued the one-pager back out to the schools to communicate to the students and the parents. So, the police department's doing everything they can. We're doing everything we can as a village with this ordinance. Now we just have to hope that people pay attention to this and, start obeying it. Other than that, Pi is moving along. We've got one of our main guy here tonight, Tim. He's at the meeting. He's the guy I reach out to with the issues and concerns, but it's been all quiet. Everything's progressing rapidly. The field, when are we going to start planting the grass? July, August? Yeah, August, September, the grass will start being planted in Pi. Now, it's 105th is the war zone of Oak Lawn. It's pretty much torn up from Kilpatrick, now all the way to my house at Kilbourne, and it's going all the way down to Keaton. So the gas company's out there replacing lines and digging holes 6 feet down, and it's a lot of work, but it's all going to benefit the whole district when it's done. That concludes my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you,
Mayor, I have one question on that. Ralph, regarding, I know it was K through 8, is it high school kids too? Are they, because I've seen at the high school where they lock up their scooters, they're there at the school, so obviously somebody's riding them there.
The ordinance is kind of tricky, but if you're 16 and you have a license, there's certain speeds that you can There's certain types that you can have.
Okay.
But 16 and under,
No. Okay, all right.
And that,
Have a license.
and that's the problem in the neighborhood. I had somebody call me from Lawn Manor Thursday. There was boys practicing baseball, girls practicing flag football, and a kid flying around in Lawn Manor fields with pretty much like a mini dirt bike. So, I told him, I said, when that happens, you need to call the non-emergency number. They'll send somebody out. You got to let them know at the time, because then they're gone and there's nothing we can do. So if you see it happening, let us know and we'll address it. But it is mostly the younger kids. I haven't seen a whole lot of older kids on them, but
I just saw an adult leaving the train station and he was on his scooter leaving the train station, and he was riding right down the sidewalks.
page, it's on there.
Okay,
And just to read a couple of them, it is unlawful to operate a low-speed electric scooter within the
Chief,
village.
Chief, you better get to the microphone so that people can hear this.
So it is on our X page. If you take a look, there's a one-page guideline. It is unlawful to operate a low-speed electric scooter within the village. There's definitions on what type of scooter, what's an electric bike. Operators of e-scooters and Class 3 e-bikes must be 16 years of age or older. So there's all I know it's kind of a confusing ordinance, but it's really because the state, their law is more of a guideline, and each village is kind of making things up as they go, but I think the state's working on some type of more uniform law.
I've heard that.
It's confusing, if I might, it's confusing because the village ordinance tracks the state statute. The state statute divides these vehicles into 3 classes. Don't ask me to explain which is which, but it has to do with how fast they can go. And so some are okay and some aren't, but that's all laid out in the ordinance, which is confusing.
Yeah, so if you go to our X page, and I think we had it on our Facebook or the village page, maybe if we could get that up there
We
again.
probably have to do it again. Yeah.
I can send that to you tomorrow.
Okay.
So we'll have it on our social
so
media.
in a nutshell, adults, and if you have a license, you're
Certain ones.
certain ones.
The low-speed ones are completely illegal.
Low speed is under 9 miles an hour.
Yeah, the low-speed
Like
ones.
a kid's one that they ride
Yeah,
on.
those are completely illegal, and then I don't know offhand, that's why we have that little cheat sheet.
Sure.
There's certain levels, if you're 16 or older, you can ride. There's still rules you have to follow.
Chief, they have to follow the rules of the road. They
Oh,
got to
yes,
stop for stop
exactly.
signs.
Exactly, and
That's where
the accident that trustee Sock was referring to, the girls were actually at fault.
Yeah, well, I've almost hit a couple of them in the
Yeah.
course of the last year myself.
Like I said, we made it, after the last board meeting, with the weather getting warmer, we made an effort to get the word out, and the officers did a great job this past weekend conducting enforcement, so hopefully the word will get out, and we'll move on to the next issue.
Thank you, Chief. And I have to take time to kudos to trustee Pembroke, who first recognized this as a safety issue for our children and brought it to the attention of this board, which resulted in the actions we're taking today. Thank you, trustee.
I think it's a really good policy.
Yes.
Not everybody's gonna like it, but I think it's a good policy.
agree.
All right, we'll move on to the village manager's report. Any report?
Nothing new today,
All
Mayor.
right, consent agenda, request the Board of Trustees approval of the cancellation of the first meeting of June 9th, July 14th, August 11th of the Board of Trustees regular meeting. B, ordinance 26-10-25, an ordinance approving an honorary street sign designating Kenton Avenue from 94th Street to 95th Street as Frank Mancari Way. D, resolution 26-10-43, a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a settlement agreement and general lease of McConnell in the Village of Oak Lawn. E, Resolution 26-10-44, a resolution waiving competitive bidding and approving an agreement with Axon Enterprises for the purchase of 2 Skydo R-10 drones for use by the Oak Lawn Police Department. F, Resolution 26-10-45, a resolution approving an electric service agreement with Digny Energy Services LLC for certain village facilities and for infrastructure, authorizing execution of this agreement. And G, Resolution 26-10-46, a resolution appointing a Village of Oak Lawn authorized agent with respect to the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Trustee Mallow.
Yes.
Trustee Stalker.
Yes.
Trustee Sock.
Yes.
Trustee Pembroke.
Yes.
Motion's passed. Village clerk's report.
You have disbursement resolution number 2026-10D dated May 12th, 2026, in the amount of $11,532,594.39.
Motion.
Motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Mallow.
Yes.
Trustee Stalker.
Yes.
Trustee Sock.
Yes.
Trustee Pembroke.
Yes.
Motion passes. Village President's report, nothing more than, I noticed that all the flower shops are selling flowers left and right, so that must mean spring is in the air. Okay, so thrilling time of the year after a hard winter. So enjoy your summer. That's all I have. A motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Mallow.
Yes.
Trustee Stalker.
Yes.
Trustee Sock.
Yes.
Trustee Pembroke.
Yes.
Motion passes. 11 minutes, Counselor.
Pretty good. Not the record, but
Yeah.
Yes, 13, Chief.
Well,